Yeah, welcome dear students. This is Dr. Samir, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Kakti Institute of Technology and Science, Warangal. Today, we will discuss about the topic on welding defects from the Unit 4. The outcomes of this lecture is that the student will able to understand weld metallurgy, will able to understand the definition and cause of the weld defects and solve the problems, and will able to suggest the possible remedies associated with the individual weld defects. So let us further continue with our discussion. Before seeing the weld defects, I would like to emphasize on the welding metallurgy. In welding metallurgy, we will be seeing about 4 different zones in a weld joint: fusion zone, weld interface zone, heat affected zone. How different zones of a steel weldments can be indicated on a iron carbon equilibrium diagram, solidification of the weld metal, epitaxial solidification, non-epitaxial solidification, defects in welding, and also the residual stresses. First, we would like to see how are the different zones in a weldment can be seen. In this figure, we have a weld. This is a weld, and it has 4 different zones as indicated in the previous slide. The 4 different zones are, if you weld a material, if you weld any 2 materials using any of the welding processes that we have seen in the previous lectures, and when we cross section it, when we cut the welding, when we cross section it, when you observe the cross section of the weld under the microscope, after preparing the weldment has to be prepared. You cannot directly observe the different zones. The weldment has to be prepared metallurgically. Then under the microscope, we can visualize the different zones. The first is called as the fusion zone. This is the fusion zone where the melting of the material takes place. Then the zone adjacent to the fusion zone is called as weld interface. This thin line adjacent to the fusion zone is called as weld interface, and the zone next to the weld interface is called as heat affected zone. This line indicated like this on the 2 sides of the weldment is called as heat affected zone. In short, we call it as HAZ zone. Then adjacent to the heat affected zone, we have base metal zone or paired metal zone. These are the 4 different zones of a weld. We will see the definition of these zones one by one. Fusion zone, in short, we call it as FZ. This zone can be characterized as a mixture of completely molten base metal and filler metal if consumable electrodes are used. This high degree of homogeneity, where the mixing is primarily motivated by convention in molten weld pool. So this zone is a typical mixture of the 2 metals. We can also see the composition of the filler metal if used in the welding process. So this zone consists of the finely mixed homogeneous mixture of 2 weld metals along with the filler metals. Then another zone we have is the heat affected zone. This zone is the region that experiences a peak temperature that is well below the solidus temperature, while high enough that can change the microstructure of the material. if you look into the another zone, the very next zone to the weld interface zone is the heat affected zone. There is a weld interface between heat affected zone and fusion zone. Due to the high temperature, the fusion of the material takes place due to the melting of the two weldments in case of the fusion welding, and there is high temperature experienced in this region. Due to this high temperature experienced in the fusion zone, very next to the fusion zone is the heat affected zone. So this experiences the peak temperature effect. As a result, it changes its microstructure. So that's the reason why we call it as heat affected zone. The amount of change in the microstructure in HAZ depends on the amount of heat input, peak temperature reached, time at the elevated temperature, and the rate of cooling. The degree of the change in the microstructure is depending upon these factors. The first is the heat input, how much amount of heat is supplied to that particular weldment. Then what is the highest temperature reached in the weldment, that is called as peak temperature, and the time elevated temperature, how much amount of time that weld material is subjected to. For welding a particular material, the time is also a factor. We call it as welding speed. So depending upon the welding speed, how much amount of time that weld material is elevated to such temperatures. So HAZ is also is varied with the elevated time and also the rate of cooling. So the time to cool the weldment from the peak temperatures to the room temperature, we call it as rate of cooling. So the change in the microstructure will depend upon the heat input, the time reached, peak time reached, the time at the elevated temperature, and the rate of cooling. As a result of change in the microstructure, the mechanical properties also change in HAZ. So usually this zone remains as the weakest section in the weldment. So whenever you observe the fracture location in a weldment, so all the fracture location will be generally taking place in the HAZ. So as the microstructure changes due to the effect of the heat input or the peak temperature or the rate of cooling, the microstructure changes. So as the microstructure changes, the mechanical properties also changes. That's the reason why the HAZ region remains the weakest region in the weldment. The fusion zone and heat affected zone of the weld joints can exhibit very different mechanical properties from that of the unaffected base metal as well as between themselves. So when you look at the cross section of the weld, your fusion zone has different mechanical properties, the heat affected zone has different mechanical properties, and also the unaffected base metal. Here there is no effect of peak temperature, there is no effect of the heat input, there is no effect of cooling rate, there is no effect of exposure of the weldment to the high temperature. So that is why we call it as unaffected base metal zone. So all these zones have different microstructures as well as different mechanical properties. For example, the fusion zone exhibits a typical cast structure, while the heat affected zone will exhibit a heat treated structure involving phase transformation, recrystallization, and grain growth. Whereas the unaffected base metal, on the other hand, will show the original rolled structure with slight grain growth. If you observe the microstructure of the fusion zone will be like a casting structure. A part when it is being casted, the grain structure is of similar to the fusion zone. Similarly, the heat affected zone has a grain structure which is equivalent to the heat treatment. Whenever a material is subjected to heat treatment, such as annealing or normalizing, the material is subjected to high temperature and soaked at that particular temperature. Then the material is bring back to the room temperature. We call it as heat treatment. In the heat treatment, the material microstructure changes, and the same way the mechanical properties also changes. Similarly, the unaffected base metal does have another microstructure, but it is identical to the as received microstructure, just with a slight increase in the grain structure due to the heat that is applied during the welding. If you can see the microstructure, here we can see the microstructure of the weld metal of different zones. This is particularly for the microstructure of the steel weldment, which is being compared with the iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So here we have different zones. This zone is called as, we have 7 different zones. Zone 1 is the center of the weld to the boundary of the weld interface. We call it as the solidified weld. In this zone, the grain structure is like a columnar grain structure, which is similar to the casted structure, a cast metal structure. Next to the zone 1, we have zone 2. This is called as unmixed zone plus remelted zone. This is called as fusion zone. Here, next to the zone 1, the solidified weld, we have the fusion zone. Here, this is a fusion zone where we have unmixed metal along with the remelted metal. We call it as fusion zone. The temperature here reached are, which is indicated with the iron carbon equilibrium diagram. The first temperature is 1600 degrees centigrade. The second temperature is between the 1600 to 1500 degrees centigrade. The next zone we have is the zone 3. This is the zone 3 in the diagram next to the zone 2. This is called as coarse grain HAZ. The HAZ is divided into 4 different zones. That is coarse grain zone. Next to coarse grain zone, we have fine grain zone. Next to fine grain zone, we have intercritical heat affected zone. Next to intercritical heat affected zone, we have tempered heat affected zone. So HAZ can be divided into 4 different zones: coarse grain HAZ, fine grain HAZ, intercritical HAZ, tempered HAZ. And the 7th zone is the heat affected zone. The coarse grain structure, the grain structure is coarse in the coarse grain HAZ, and the temperature is ranged from 1500 to 1100 degrees centigrade. Next, adjacent to the coarse grain structure, you have a fine grain structure, because the microstructure of the weldment is very fine, and the temperature is between 900 to 1100 degrees centigrade. And next to the fine grain HAZ, you have intercritical heat affected zone. In the intercritical heat affected zone, the grain structure is little coarser than the fine grain structure, and the temperature is between 900 to 700 degrees centigrade. Next to the intercritical heat affected zone, we have a tempered zone where the grains are little elongated due to the heating and cooling effect of the weldment. So this zone has the temperature between 700 to just less than 600 degrees centigrade. Then another zone, that is the unaffected base metal, which is having the grain structure of a rolled metal, but slightly increased coarse grain due to the heat applied at the faying surfaces. So this temperature can be less than the 600 degrees centigrade. So this is about the comparison of the microstructure of a steel with the iron carbon equilibrium diagram. Solidification of the weldment. In fusion welding, the existing base metal grains at the fusion line as shown in the figure serve as a substrate for nucleation of crystals during solidification of fusion zone. Thus, new crystals or grains are formed by arranging the atoms from the base metal grains without altering the crystallographic orientation. This feature is referred as epitaxial solidification, which is usually in particular in autogeneous welding, that is without filler metal. In the figure, direction should be realized perpendicular to the plane of the welding. So if you want to visualize the solidification of welding, here we have the weld pool, and this is the base metal. Here we have the base metal grain structure. This base metal grain structure is serving as a nucleus for the growth of the other grains. So this growth of the grains, which started from the base metal grains, which are acting as the sites for the nucleus grain growth, is called as the epitaxial growth. This epitaxial growth, we can see if this is the fusion line, this green line is indicated as the fusion line, and the direction of the arrow, if the direction is in this direction, the grain growth is in this direction. If this is in the direction, the grain growth is in the similar direction. If this is in this direction, the grain goes in this direction. If it is in this direction, the grain goes in this direction. So this shows that the plane 100, which indicates either FCC or BCC, are the favorable grain growth structures. So this is the meaning of epitaxial solidification. This epitaxial solidification can be seen in the autogeneous welding process where no filler material is obtained. That's the reason why the base metal grain structure will serve as a nucleus growth for the further growth of the crystals during the solidification. Non-epitaxial solidification. Non-epitaxial solidification occurs when welding is done with filler material or with two different materials, and the new grain starts forming on the heterogeneous sites at the fusion boundary. The boundary of the fusion zone will exhibit random misorientation between the base metal grains and the weld metal grains, such that the layer may not follow special orientation relationship with the base metal grains they are in contact with. Here, non-epitaxial solidification can be seen especially with the filler material, welds that are done using filler material or the dissimilar materials. So this has a fusion boundary with a random misorientation between the base metal grains and the weld metal grains. So this is called as the non-epitaxial solidification. Coming to the another part of this presentation, we have the welding defects. So far we have observed the solidification of the weldments. What is the metallurgy behind the welding solidification we have seen. Now we will see the different weld defects. Different weld defects. Performance and the longevity of weld structures in service depends upon the presence or absence of defects in the weld joints. Any joint, whether its performance or the longevity, how far it can last in its particular application, will depend upon the presence or absence of the defects. It is not possible for welds to be completely sound. How much care you may take during the welding process, there are few defects in the joint. So it is not possible to completely eliminate the defects. Improper welding parameters and wrong welding procedures introduce defects in the weld metal and HSZ. Defects impair the strength of the weld joints. A defective weldment fails under service conditions and causes damage to the property and loss of human values. So if these welded joints are used in the critical applications, in the bridges or in any other machinery, if the damage is occurred without any indication, we can have a huge loss to the human lives as well. So definition of the welding, we all know the definition: the process of joining two similar or dissimilar metals by heat or by pressure or by both using a filler material to achieve a defectless joint having the physical properties similar to the parent metal or the base metal. The dissimilar metals means those that are chemically different: steel, copper, aluminum. Those are metallurgically different, that is mild steel, stainless steel, etc. So dissimilar metals imparts galvanic cell erosion. Commonly welded base metals are ferrous and non-ferrous. So this we have seen in the earlier lectures. What is a welding defect now? The defect in the weld can be defined as irregularities in the weld metal produced due to incorrect welding parameters or wrong welding procedures or wrong combination of filler metal and parent metal. It can be simply defined as defects introduced during welding beyond the acceptance limit that can cause a weld to fail. A defect does not allow the finished joint to withstand the required strength or load. So we can define a defect as a defect introduced during the welding beyond the acceptable limit. Any defect, we cannot eliminate the defects in the welding, but the defect which cannot withstand a required strength or load, we call it as the defect. Failure to welding defect on percentage basis. According to the American Society of Mechanical Engineering, mechanical engineers, we call it as ASME, welding defect causes are broken down into following percentage: 41% of poor process condition, 32% operator error, 12% wrong technique, 10% incurrent consumables, and 5% bad weld grooves. So this is how the percentage of weld defects has been divided by the ASME. In presence of weld defects, what should be done when welding defects are detected? So what should we do? One should reject the items and put them temporarily on hold. One should determine the cause and try to implement a corrective action to avoid future reoccurrence. Then an authorized professional should determine if defects are repairable or not. If yes, by which procedure? Standard procedures may be approved for routine applications. So these are the measures to be taken when we observe welding defects in the manufacturing sector. Evaluation of welding defects. All discontinuities are not weld defects. Discontinuities are rejectable only if they exceed specification requirements. Radiographic standards used for evaluation of weld defects. So we have two standards, that is IIW, called as International Institute of Welding Standards, ASTM standards, American Society of Testing Metals standards. Acceptance standards vary with service requirements. Specified welding defects levels as per ASTM. Defects not allowed. Shrinkage or crack is completely not allowed. Lack of fusion is not allowed. Burn through is not allowed. Elongated porosity is not allowed. Defects which are allowed are incomplete penetration up to level 2, slag inclusion up to level 3, undercut up to level 4, porosity, coarse scattered porosity up to level 2, cluster porosity up to level 3, fine scattered porosity up to level 4. So those are the defects. What are the acceptable range of defects based upon the organization? Now, classification of weld defects. One of the IIW documents classifies all welding defects into 6 groups according to their appearance. First is called as crack. So this crack includes all types of cracks such as crater cracks, hot cracks, cold cracks, etc. Then cavity, which includes blowholes, porosities, shrinkage, pipes, etc. Then third type is incomplete fusion and penetration, which includes lack of fusion, lack of penetration, etc. Then the fourth is includes solid inclusion, which includes slag, metal oxide, tungsten, wagon track, etc. Imperfect shape, undercut, underfill, overlap, excessive penetration, improper bead shape, etc. Then another defect is the miscellaneous defects, which includes arc strike, excessive spatter, rough surface, uneven ripples, etc. Classification of weld defects. All these defects fall under two categories: visual defects, surface weld defects, external defects. The defects which can be seen visually without using any radiography or any microscope, we call them as the visual defect or surface weld defects or external defects. Those defects are classified as surface cracks, overlaps, undercuts, underfills, excessive penetration, surface porosity, excessive spatter, arc strike, etc. All these are classified as external defects. Hidden defects: lack of fusion, lack of penetration, subsurface blowholes or porosity, shrinkage cavity, slag inclusion or tungsten inclusion. Hidden defects are the internal defects which cannot be visualized by seeing with the naked eye. These are particularly seen using a radiography or an optical microscope. We'll see the first kind of defect, that is called as a crack. A hairline separation in the base metal or weld metal body. So this is a weld metal crack. We can observe these cracks in the weld metal. We can observe these cracks in the root. So we can designate different cracks based upon their location. So if you observe this diagram, when the crack is located centrally, we call it as weld metal crack. If the crack is in the bead, under the bead, we call it underbead crack. If the crack is at the root, we call it as root crack. If the crack is at the root surface, we call it as root surface crack. If the crack is at the weld interface, we call it as weld interface crack. If the crack is presented in the heat affected zone, we call it as heat affected zone crack. And if the crack is presented at the toe on the surface, we call it as toe crack. This is the most dangerous of all defects and occurs in the weld metal when localized stresses exceeds the universal tensile strength of the, ultimate tensile strength of the material, UTS, and may be microscopic or macroscopic. So we can observe these cracks either with the naked eye or under the optical microscope. So the defects which are observed under the microscope, we call it as microscopic sizes, and the defects which are observed with the naked eye, we call it as macroscopic observations. So cracks along the long crack in HZ parallel to the weld. So this is a weld material. So parallel to the weld, you can see, and also the long crack in the weld metal running through the center of the weld. So this is also the indication of the cracks. The causes for the cracks are the poor ductility of the base metal, high carbon and sulfur content in the base metal or in the weld metal, high contraction stresses, electrode with high hydrogen content. So these can cause cracks during the welding. Remedy. The remedy is that preheating of the material must be carried out to avoid the cracks. Manganese and sulfur ratios should be minimum. Use low hydrogen electrode. Avoid rapid cooling. Rapid cooling of the material has to be avoided in order to avoid cracks. The classification: cracks may be grouped into two cracks: hot cracks and cold cracks. If you look at this figure, the transverse weld crack running across the weld, these are the transverse hot cracks. The crack in the weld that occurs just after the welds are completed and sometimes the welds are being made. The cracks which are observed just after the completion of the weld or just during the weld, we call it as hot cracks. So it develops due to the high temperatures and propagates between grains of the materials. So these cracks can propagate to the grains of the materials and occurs in the weld metals and sometimes in the heat affected zone. The solidification crack is observed in the weld metal. Liquefaction crack is observed in the heat affected zone. So these are the different location of the cracks. Here in this diagram, we can see the location of the cracks on the grain boundary. And here we can see the location of the crack passing through the intergrain structures. So we call it as transcrystalline grain, and this is called as intercrystalline grain. At the boundaries, if the crack is at the boundaries, we call it as intercrystalline crack. If the crack is propagating through the boundaries of the adjacent grains, we call it as transcrystalline cracks. Then the causes for the hard cracks is that high residual stresses in the weld metal, low weld ductility, too high welding current, high thickness of the workpiece, thicker the workpiece, faster the cooling rate, high ratio of sulfur phosphorus with low manganese content, and high copper and nitrogen content, niobium content. So this is due to the high hardenability. Then to prevent these hot cracks, the controlling composition of the metal, sulfur should be less than 0.007%. This is the composition of the weld metal. Use a filler metal with the proper composition and low tensile strength. High tensile strength material should not be used and the composition should be very proper. And preheat. As we said in the earlier slides, reducing the preheat should be done. Reducing the rate of cooling, not essential for austenitic stainless steel. Martensit does not occur. So repair is remove or rebuild. The only thing what we can do when we come across with the hot cracks is that we can remove or re-weld it. Then coming to the cold cracks, this occurs after the metal has completely solidified at temperature between 100 degrees to 200 degrees centigrade. So hot cracks are during the welding or just right after the welding, but cold cracks are completely occurred after solidification when the temperature is between 100 to 200 degrees centigrade. Can occur several days after weld, occur in carbon steels, low and high alloy steels, propagates both grains and through grains, often associated with non-metallic inclusions, elongated manganese and sulfur, occurs in both weld metal and HSZ, but generally in HSZ. So this cold cracking can be seen generally in HSZ. So if you want to take a look at the cracking in the weld metal, you can see the difficult to diffuse hydrogen any further, and the movement of HSZ during the arc welding. So we can see the adjacent plate is transformed to austenite when heated by welding, and hydrogen is soluble in this region. This region remains as ferrite, which has no solubility for hydrogen, and this is the zone difficult for hydrogen to diffuse any further. So the hydrogen cannot diffuse further. Causes of the cold crack is that hydrogen pickup during welding. Sources of hydrogen: moisture in the base metal and weld electrodes, surface contaminated with organic substances, surrounding atmosphere. One of the major sources for the cold cracking is the hydrogen. The hydrogen can be imparted into the weld due to the moisture of the base metal or the electrodes, can be due to the contamination of the surface with the organic substances and also exposure to the surrounding atmosphere. The phase changes, formation of martensite during cooling. Formation of martensite during the cooling can also cause cold cracks. Prevention. Control welding parameters, proper preheating, reduces diffusion of H2, ensure no moisture. Post-welding treatment, stress relief has to be done. If in order to avoid the cold cracks, one of the method is to do post-welding treatment. We call it as post-welding heat treatment to relieve the stresses present in the weld after the solidification. Clean joint from rust. Rust has to be avoided. Use proper welding process and consumables. Low strength filler material has to be used. Use low hydrogen type baked electrodes. The repair to do this cold cracks is remove, or we can remove the re-weld the two metal pieces. Another is the crater crack or the star crack, a depression left in the weld metal where the arc was broken or flame was removed or electrode was changed. They are not hot cracks, occurs at the crater of the weld, usually star shaped but may have other shapes. Most frequently found in austenitic stainless steel or high thermal coefficient. The cracks which are in the star shape, we call it as crater cracks or star cracks. The causes for this is center of the weld pool becomes solid before outside, pulling the center apart during the cooling. High current is the cause for the crater crack. Prevention can be minimized by filling crater to slightly convex shape prior to breaking the arc welding. May be avoided through improved welding skill. Repair, we can remove or re-weld using appropriate procedure. Then another defect is the porosities or blowholes. Porosity is a group of small voids, whereas blowholes are comparatively bigger hole or cavity caused by entrapment of gases such as H2, CO2, N2 and O2 from coating ingredients in the electrodes or moisture, oil, grease, rust, etc. on base metal within the solidified weld. The porosities are the small voids which are caused due to the entrapment of the gases. Porosity can occur on or just below the surface of the weld. Porosity in the weld and HSZ may lead to cracking. So this figure represents the different porosities. If the pores are very small, we call it as porosity. If we observe large diameter pores, we call it as blowholes. So this can form on the surface and also inside the weld pool. Gas porosity or blowholes. We have different types of porosity: cluster porosity, gas porosity, and this porosity can be distributed uniformly. We call it as uniformly distributed. If these are distributed at a juncture, we call it as clustered porosity. And if they are distributed linearly, we call it as linear porosity. If they are distributed in a wormhole pattern, we call it as wormhole porosity. Blowholes and porosities. The causes are the workpiece or electrode contains contaminated with high sulfur and carbon, excessive moisture, rust, scale, oil, grease, etc. Atmospheric gases such as nitrogen, excessive oxygen in case of aluminum welding. Anodizing coating on aluminum contains moisture, long or fast solidification rate. These are the causes for the blowholes. So to prevent these blowholes, one may opt for preheating of the metals, maintain proper arc length, use low hydrogen electrode, use recommended procedure for baking and storing electrodes, clean joint surfaces and adjoint surfaces. Then another defect is the undercut, a defect that appears as a groove formed in the base metal adjacent to the toe of the weld along the edge of the weld and left unfilled by the weld metal. So any metal which is left looking like a groove between the base metal and the filled metal, we call it as the undercut. You can see the undercuts here. In the figure, you can see the different undercuts. Generally located parallel to the joint of weld metal, base metal at the toe or root of the weld. Reduces the cross-sectional thickness of the base metal, acts as stress riser for fatigue loading. So the undercuts are defects, acting as defects because they are the stress risers in the fatigue loading conditions. The different causes for the undercuts are high welding current and arc voltage, too large electrode diameter, incorrect electrode angle, longer arc length. These are the causes for the undercut. Prevention. Use prescribed welding current for electrode size, adjust electrode angle to fill undercut area, correct travel speed, arc length, etc. Repair. Gouge and weld with low hydrogen electrode. Gouge means to chisel with a concave chisel to remove the material to level of the material. Overlap. Another defects are the overlap. The weld pool which is on the reinforcement which is excessive on the metal, we call it as overlap. An imperfection at the toe of the weld causes by overflow of the weld metal on the surface of the parent metal without fusion. So this does not cause any fusion. This is just an overlap at the toe of the weld. Protruded weld metal beyond the toe. So this is protruded beyond the toe. Tends to produce mechanical notch. Starts a crack at sharp point where the weld metal and base metal come together at the overlap surface. So this will act as a sharp point and can act as can start a crack. Causes are current is too low while welding, too large deposition in single run, large deposition, longer arc, slow arc travel speed. If the travel speed is slow, the deposition of the material is high. Prevention. Proper welding technique has to be adopted. Proper size of electrode should be used. Repair. Overlap must be removed to blend smoothly into the base metal. So this overlap must be removed smoothly. Lack of penetration. Lack of penetration, we can see the depth of weld material in joining the two materials. If there is any gap left, we call it as lack of penetration. So we will look into the definition of the lack of penetration. Improper penetration of the weld metal through the thickness of joint or weld metal not extending to the required depth to joint root. So if it is not reaching up to the root, we call it as incomplete joint penetration. So this acts as a stress riser from which a crack may propagate. So through this, a crack may propagate and will definitely lead to the failure of the weld joint. Lack of penetration, the causes are root gap too small. If the root gap is too small, the weld material cannot occupy the space. High welding speed. If you use high welding speed without proper penetration, the material may not fuse together. Low heat input. If the temperature is very low. Too large electrode diameter. If the electrode diameter is large, there is lack of penetration. Prevention is proper joint preparation. We have to see that the root gap is such a way that it can fill into the weld pool, filled with the weld pool. Proper heat input and welding speed should be maintained. Use suitable size of electrode. Repair. Back gouge and back weld or remove or re-weld. These are lack of fusion. Lack of fusion is such a way that there is no joint between the two joining metal pieces. Lack of complete melting of fusion, some portion of the weld metal in a joint. Maybe at the root sides or between two runs. So we can see this is incomplete fusion. Here we can see this is incomplete fusion. Here we can see incomplete fusion. So this reduces the strength of the welds and makes the welded structure unreliable. So this does not have enough strength to withstand the loads. Lack of fusion between the phases. So this is a fusion, lack of fusion, this is a lack of fusion here. This is lack of fusion. And this is a lack of fusion observed under the radiography. The causes are low welding current, excess welding speed, unfavorable heat input. Preventions are maintain proper current, welding speed, proper cleaning of each bead, repair, chipping back and rewelding. So these are the things we have to look into the lack of fusions. Then excessive penetration. The weld material is excessively penetrated beyond the root. We call it as excessive penetration. So weld metal lying outside the plane joining the toes makes notches that create stress concentration and economic waste. So this is an economic waste. So most of the electrodes are used, filler material is used, and it is uneconomical. We cannot waste the electrodes. Causes are due to wide root gap, high welding current, slow travel speed, and large size electrodes. Preventions: correct the root opening and root face, reduce the wide speed feed. Repair is remove or re-weld. Then another defect we see is this spatter. The small globular metal drops or particles thrown out during welding and stick to the base metal surface along its length. So these are the globular metal drops that thrown out during welding and stick on the surface. So this is caused due to the metal lost, do not form a part of the weld, and excessive spatter is unacceptable. Even though there is an unavoidable spatter, but excessive spatter is not acceptable. The causes are excessive arc current, excessive long arc, improper shielding gas, electrodes coated with improper flux ingredients, and damp electrodes. The causes can be excessive current or improper shielding gases, or else if the flux ingredients are not proper on the electrodes, and damp electrodes are the causes for this spatter. Preventions: correct welding current, type and size electrodes used, correct proper arc length and use correct voltage. Spatter cure, that is 07 non-toxic, non-pollutant, water-based inorganic anti-spatter flux we can use, can easily be removed either by hairbrush or by washing. Remove by grinding or sanding are the repair methods for this spatter. Inclusions. Inclusions are the metallic or non-metallic solid materials that entrapped within the weld metal between the weld passes or between weld metal and base metals. So whatever the inclusions are, the inclusions may be metallic or may be unmetallic. Metallic may be the filler metal inclusions or the tungsten inclusions, or non-metallic inclusions may be gases, where be gases inclusions, where be moisture inclusions. So maybe in form of slag or any other foreign material which does not get a chance to float on the surface of the solidifying weld metal. H2 is the most undesirable inclusion, causing cold crack. So one of the inclusions in the welding is the hydrogen. So hydrogen is the most undesirable inclusion. Lowers the strength of the joint and makes it weaker. So inclusions are generally lowers the strength of the joint and makes it weaker. Non-metallic inclusions are most dangerous, maybe sulfide, oxide, silicate, aluminate type, and acts as stress riser. Slag inclusions are elongated globular packets of metallic oxide and other solid compounds. So you can see the slag inclusions in the diagrams here. These are the slag inclusions. This is slag inclusion. The slag inclusions can be seen in the radiography here, can be seen in the microscope. These are different slag inclusions. The possible causes for slag inclusions are inadequate cleaning of the weld metal between the passes, rapid rate of welding, too large electrodes, improper current, long arcs. If you are welding with the rapid rate of welding, we can include the different inclusions, and also proper current has to be included and long arcs should be avoided. Prevention: maintain proper current and heat input, proper cleaning of the weld. If the welds are not cleaned, it may include different inclusions which are undesirable. Repair is chip back and re-weld. Metallic inclusions. Metallic inclusions are droplets of tungsten in TIG welding. Especially we can see it in the tungsten gas welding when we use the tungsten electrodes. When this tungsten electrode is used to join the two metals, the tungsten gets entrapped into the weld. We call it as metallic. These are the sources of the metallic inclusion. They are extremely difficult and can fracture easily under stress. Causes are dipping of tungsten electrode in the molten weld pool. You should avoid that dipping of electron during the welding in the molten weld pool. Use of heavy current, overheating and melting of tungsten electrode. Overheating of the tungsten electrode is avoided. Use of oxygen contaminated shielding gas. So the oxygen gas contaminated with the shielding gas should be avoided. Prevention. Avoid contact between electrode and the work. Use larger electrode, grind out and re-weld. If this, to repair the metallic inclusion, one option is to grind out or the re-weld. So we can see the inclusions of tungsten in the radiography. This is the large white spots or the tungsten inclusions. So this is seen especially in the TIG welding when we have the TIG here as the electrode, tungsten electrode is non-consumable. But when you raise the temperature, when you use high current, this electrode melts and forms an inclusion in the weld bead. Arc strikes. These are localized HAZ. When a welder accidentally strikes the electrode and the electrode holder against the work, usually adjacent to the weld, causing an unwanted arc, such spots are referred as arc strikes, which can initiate failure in bending and cyclic loads. So the arc strikes unintentionally to while welding to generate the arc between the electrode and the workpiece. Already there is the electronic plasma. The welding is carried out, and unintentionally, if he hits the electrode with the workpiece material, it causes arc strikes, and these are undesirable, which can initiate failure in bending and cyclic loads. Must be avoided, and repair of such damage may be difficult and costly, involving chipping and preheating before rewelding. If this is not an option, then arc spots can be post-heated. So linear slag inclusions, if they are linearly, the slag is included, is called as wagon track or linear slag inclusion. The wagon track is also a welding defect, causes improper technique. Prevention: remove slag from the previous process. Burn through. The holes burn through the parent metal in a single pass weld or root in multi-run welds. So if the metal has been burned, we call it as burn through. It seldom occurs. Excessive weld current with the low welding speed, insufficient root phase, excessive root gap. Repair, remove and re-weld or post-weld heat treatment can be done. The holes burned through the parent material, we generally call it as burn through. Shrinkage cavity. The shrinkage cavity is formed in the weld metal during solidification. This is seldom occurly. So this occurs due to the solidification. The heavier material is in the center of the weld metal pool, and the solidification occurs from the boundary. Then as this time progresses, this mushy solid remains as a mushy molten metal. So this we call it as the shrinkage cavity or contraction cavity. So thank you very much, dear students. That was about the welding metallurgy and welding defects. Hope you understood this session. And thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.